Yes, good evening, all, and welcome to the Tactical Devils. I'm your host, Jarvis, and with me tonight, we don't have Stu Wally. It will only be Jarvis for 30 minutes doing a instant reaction. We just witnessed a snooze fest of a game, a freaking boring game. It was Steve Holland ball, Michael Carrick ball. I don't know what you want to call it. Defensively set up, no urgency, no press, no nothing. For me, it was one of the most boring games I ever witnessed. It was abysmal, it was passive, and I'm not happy with what I saw. But again, maybe the players have just switched off because they have achieved their goal. They have qualified for the Champions League, and we did a lot of substitutions because we know our squad is thin. We can't carry players that actually today had a really poor game. We had players like Joshua Xerxes. Just I don't know what he did on the pitch. I don't think he broke a sweat during the 70 minutes he was on the pitch. Mason Mount, again, another poor performance. We need to get rid of that guy. I don't think it's good enough. And the same goes for Ahmad. I think Ahmad yet again had a poor game. So let's just be fair with Ahmad, and you can't keep putting in performances like this. I will do a match reaction, guys, and a lot of you have tuned in already. Danny Bede, Irish Pit Terrier is here. Tom Porter, big up Tom. Who else is there? Paul Tobin, big up Paul. Glad to see that you tuned in for the match reaction. And also we have Grace Sheridan. Stu Wally is in the chat, coming in and say, hi all, apologize, can't make the show, but please support as you always do, my old mate Jarvis. See you all tomorrow night. Big up all. Big up Stu. Mr. Porter's 5,000 coming in and say, big up fellas. I liked how Carrick changed it up today so we can see who deserves to stay here for next season and who needs to go. Well, that's a well put point, Mr. Porter's 5,000, because, we could see a lot of these players are actually not good enough. If you finally have your chance, if you sit on the bench for the full season, let's say if you're Xerxes, this is your chance. This is your chance. And Xerxes, there came out reports that Xerxes wants to stay and fight for his place. Xerxes, let me tell you one thing. This is not the way to fight for your spot. Then you have to meet up, do your job, score a goal, do something, but you can't just walk around, be passive, do nothing. Come on, guys. This was poor. This was poor. This is not Man United. This is not the way I want to see Man United play. By the way, we had 0 shots. I repeat, 0 shots on target up until the 92nd minute. And then Cunha had a shot on goal. So again, it was a snooze fest. But okay, guys, smash the like, subscribe if this is your first time on the Tactical Devils. I will be back after the short intro and we will do a instant reaction on the show. So guys, see you in a sec. Boom, 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 and welcome to the Tactical Devils. I'm a little bit frustrated right now. I'm not happy with what I saw, but we just witnessed, and I think most of you have the same feeling after a game like this. It wasn't a good performance. And Danny B comes in and say very poor, absolutely lost the midfield. And I think an ex-player like Peter Schmeichel actually were right. We should look at a player like Granit Xhaka, bring him in to carry all of these youngsters, and even you can call them youngsters, but they're just like slackers, Mason Mount and Xerxes and guys who just collect a paycheck and meet up in training and sit on the bench every weekend. So again, these are the type of players that we have become used to and familiar with this Man United team. And excuse me for 1 second. Yeah, and this is just so poor from Man United, and we just need to get rid of those players, as Mr. Potus said, because I'm not having it. I'm not having passengers on our team, and we got to look forward. And I demand a big window from Ineos. We need to do something because we can't go into a Champions League season playing, let's say, 15 games extra, maybe have a better cup run than we had this season. We must do that, getting knocked out in the League Cup and FA Cup in the first round for us, possibly. And, it will be more games, maybe 20, 25 more games than we are used to. Then we can't rely on this because this will be next year. This will be next year. We will come into every other game and playing Xerxes, Mount, and all of these passengers. And this is what I see. And I'm not happy with this. We can't keep running like this. Then we will come in like Newcastle 10th next season. We need a bigger squad. So, guys, I don't know if you agree with me or not. I want to have your opinions, guys. Jarle Malmin is in the house. Big up, Jarle. I hope you're well, my friend. Coming in, my Norwegian friend from the West Coast, saying, I got really angry when I saw that Licha walked right into the team. It was, if it was not for Lamens, we would have lost 2-0 today. 100%, Jarle. 100%. We would have lost today if it wasn't for Lamens. Lamens, my man of the match. Personally, my man of the match. 100%. I agree with you so much, Jarle. And again, it tells you a little bit about some players just coming into the team. It doesn't matter what Heaven have done lately. I think Heaven has been brilliant in the last 2 or 3 games playing. And what does it say about Heaven? What does it say about Heaven and his confidence? Give the youngsters game time. Licha don't need any more game time. Licha at the moment. He just needs to stay injury free and get back on track. Why are we putting Licha on the pitch and giving him minutes? Why? What's the point? Okay, for Argentina, maybe we can do something for Argentina, but that's not our problem. We are Man United. For me, I would rather Aiden Heaven felt secure, felt that he was a starter and gain momentum up until next season, because we know we have to rely on Aiden Heaven next season, because Licha will get injured again. Maguire will get injured. Who knows the fuck what will happen with the Ligt, with his back. He will be out all probably half of next season. So again, we have to rely on players like Aiden Heaven. So for me, that's bullshit. That's bullshit from Carrick and Holland and all of these guys. It's bullshit, 100%. We need to give players like Aiden Heaven, Lenny Oro, if possible, as much game time and experience in the highest level. How much do you think Aiden Heaven could have learned today playing against a physical striker like Brobbey? He would have learned so much, but we rather take that away from him because we want to play an injury-prone Licha, Lisandro Martinez. What the fuck are they thinking about? For me, bullshit. Bullshit again from Man United. And I think it's weak leadership. They don't think ahead. Okay, we have qualified for the next year's Champions League. The goal of the season is achieved, and now we are sitting here and playing Licha. Okay. It's not for me, guys. I wouldn't have done it like this. So great point from Jarle Malmin. Big up, Jarle. Okay, we have Johnny Kermode. Big up, Johnny, coming in and say, hello, Jarvis, a dull game. Players like Mount Xerxes, while they have decent attributes, they are not what we need to challenge. The front line was not linking up. It was poor. Yeah, preaching to the choir. 100%. Johnny Kermode, I think you summed it up really well. Rob Taft coming in and say rotation and sound lounges out today. Yes. It's rotation, but again, why? Why do we rotate? Because we have a game once a week, or Are we trying to bump up the price on Xerxes and show the world how poor he is? Or Mason Mount, show the world that Mason Mount has legs and can actually run for 90 minutes? Because I think most of the scouts and the other clubs doubt it, because he's such an injury-prone calamity of a player. For me, again, why even play Mason Mount? Why even play Mason Mount? He doesn't deserve it. He doesn't deserve it. And he plays with the number 7 shirt. My God. How deep have we fallen? Let's see what other comments. And I just need to scroll down and see what you guys are saying. Carrick own goal with his choices. Yes, 100%, 100%. Mostly Indica. Big up my man. I see Pump Postal Boy 95224 coming in and say, why does nobody wants Glazers has the manager won the FA Cup with Palace, then go to win the conference with Palace with all the best players? Why does nobody want Glaze? Sorry, my dyslexia. Coming in and say, why doesn't nobody wants Glasner? Has the manager won the FA Cup with Palace and going to win the Conference League with Palace with all the best players gone? Well, for me, I think the biggest problem is Glasner is the type of manager who likes to play the 3-4-3. Okay, it's not the same way as Amorim did it, but I think we can conclude after the trial with Amorim that we are not a back 3 type of club. It's not in our DNA and the way we want to play football. So all these back 3 type of managers, I know there are Alonso out there, you have Glasner out there, there are other managers out there who actually doing a good job, but it will never work with Man United. And I think the turnaround and the amount of players we need to buy to get it to work, we still don't have a decent wing backs. We have to rely on players like Dalot to play wing back, Masraoui to play wing back, and none of them are wing backs. So again, it will cost too much for us to go into that wing back type of system again. So it's a no for me, but it's a good question, Pumps Postal Boy. I get what you're saying, and Glasner is a brilliant manager. I don't know if any of you know, has Glasner played a different system in other teams? Is he a 100% a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-3 type of manager, or have he played with a 4-4-2 or 4-3-3 type of football? So again, I need to read up on Glasner. I need to know more, but I know that he didn't play the same way as Amorim did when because Amorim had a little bit different when it came to the wing backs and who to play in the 10 position and how to open the midfield. So he plays more stable football than Amorim did, at least. So yeah, big up my man. Big up my man. King Carrick comes in and say, Carrick had no striker today. Xerxes ain't good enough and we need a minimum of another 2 strikers. Yeah, we are very vulnerable as long as Sesko is out. That's the truth, King Carrick. Your football, and we have always struggled when Xerxes is out. We have the option of playing Cunha, in the 10, or maybe Mbumo, in the 9, and maybe Mbumo in the 9. But again, we need an out-and-out striker, and there are options out there. But it will cost. It will cost a lot of money for us to bring in a striker. And I feel at the moment the club are at the place where getting in a second striker is the least prioritized position of what we need. So again, I think they are relying on Chido Obi Martin to come in and play that second fiddle for Man United next season. And I don't know. I read some scouting reports. I follow some accounts on Twitter, who follows the academy closely, and all of them are saying that Chido Obi Martin has evolved this season. He's doing better. He's more physical and is getting better. We also could see him yesterday in the FA Youth Cup semi-final. Man United won 4-3 against Manchester City, and Chido Obi scored 2 goals, 2 headers. I believe it was brilliant cross from Shea Lacey on the first one, and another one from the left winger. I can't remember his name right now, but again, I think Chido Obi could come in and do a job. Is it sustainable? Is it the way forward? Maybe we should give Chido Obi a loan and bring in an older player, a more astute player. I would personally have bring in a more physical player. We talked, for example, like Calvert-Lewin last season. Calvert-Lewin or another one of those older strikers, physical strikers. You know, what the heck? I even take in Brian Brobby. You know, he can't control the ball for tits. You know, he has no close control. But again, he's a bully. He can bully the 2 centre backs, and maybe we need that in the last 20 minutes when we need a goal. Bring in someone who can be the target man. And yeah, I don't know if any of you have any good suggestions of who we can bring in, but I can't see a broke ass Ineos and the Glazers putting money into a striker position. I think we predominantly need 3 midfielders. I would personally go for a centre back. We need full backs, both right and left. We need a left winger and then a striker. So again, I think we will go into the season just praying, hoping, you know, clinging on to Sesko, keeping himself injury-free, and relying on Cunha and Mbumo when needed. So again, that's just my take, but yeah, that's just how it is. King Carrick, don't get me started on the imposter mount. Yeah, it's imposter. He's an imposter, 100%. You know, and the number 7 shirt. Don't get me started. I never. Yeah. Okay, so you would rather keep Ugarte if you get it. That's a new one. I haven't heard that before, but I kind of, yeah. You have a point. I would rather keep Ugarte if you get Mount out. Yeah, okay, I agree. Second that. If it's between the two evils, I would go for that. Paul comes in and says, Jarvis, I don't get the snobbery around managers for United. Glasner, no. Emery, no. Iraola, no. What the fuck do we want? All these managers have had success at different clubs, but no, we want Carrick. Yeah. Well, I think mainly it's because it's because of Woodward. And I think Woodward wants control. And Iraola, you know, Mr. Weetabix and Potato Head, the 2 most incompetent people in the top 10 of the Premier League when it comes to sporting directors. And I don't know what's the title of Berada. But again, you know, I don't rate any of them. I would rather sack them both and bring in someone who has done this before. They are learning on the job, and you know, we saw it with the sacking of Amorim. We saw it with the decisions when it came to Ten Hag. We have seen it so many times. You know, the insecurity, the lack of vision and know-how, and also I think we will suffer in the summer transfer window. I think we will miss the obvious gems, the hidden gems. I think we'll try to go for the Premier League proven players, but it means that we only are able to sign maybe 4 to maybe 5 maximum. And 4 players in, 5 players in is not good enough when we play another 20 games extra. So again, yeah, it's not much to say about it, but we know the incompetence of the guys on top, the suits, the effing suits. Big up Twalumba Piri. Nice to see you. I love that Grace Jones emoji with that cigarette out her in her mouth. Lovely. Grace Jones. James Bond. What's the name of that James Bond movie? We talked about it before. A View to a Kill, maybe the last one with Roger Moore when they were in Paris. Yeah, but I'm old enough, I remember I saw it on VHS. You all remember the VHS? No, but I'm old enough, I'm too old, too old. Hjalmar Min comes in and say Mount is better than Ugarte. I can't Ugarte anymore. Play a Fletcher instead. Well, that's a good point. I want to put both of them, Mount and Ugarte, in the bin. They have had their chances, had their time, and after seeing the FA Youth semi-final yesterday against City, I know we have a lot of talents coming through. The class of I don't know. Can you call it the class of 2026? Shea Lacey, Obi Martin. What's the name of them? The brilliant midfielder. Yeah, the brilliant Thwaites, Jim Thwaites yesterday. The Fletcher twins, especially the Scottish one. Both of them are good, but one is English. One I think it's Tyler. He's an inch bigger than his brother, and I think the league is more about physicality. So both of them are good, and so Morehouse, he had a brilliant game yesterday. Kukunki, Leon, all of these guys. I think we just got to give him a chance. But the biggest problem with Man United, we are not developing these youngsters. We are not developing them at all. The only way we develop them is bumping up the contracts when they hit the limelight, and we are not holding them back. Back in the days when Ferguson brought on Giggs, Beckham, Neville, but all of these guys, whenever they had a good game, he put them on the bench for the next two, and then he brought them in again. Kept them grounded. And in a way, I feel now how we develop players at Man United is bumping up their contract, giving them the world with the social media thing. We're not keeping a leash on them. And after a while, they start believing their own hype, even before they have achieved anything. And then they lose their hunger. We have seen it again and again with all these massive talents, coming through. And what we do is hype them up. But we should be better, It's always, when it comes to this, keep them hungry, keep them fighting for more. Keep them wanting to become the best version of themselves, not being happy with earning £30,000 a week playing for the under 21s. For me, that's the wrong approach. So yeah, again, this club is doing so many wrong decisions. So again, keep them grounded. Paul comes in and says, Jarvis, you want Berada and Wilcox sacked? Yeah, that's my honest opinion. I don't think they're good enough. I don't want players or like the director of football learning on the job. They have done too many mistakes for me. I think the last fuck up with Amorim was abysmal, and also I think they just struck luck when they hired Carrick. Sometimes you just get lucky, and I think they got lucky. If we were a serious club, I think we should think of maybe just get him out of the way and get some people who are more confident, more experienced in the job. Running a big club like Man United, having been in Southampton, Leeds, Manchester City Academy. That's not enough. I want a bigger CV. I want people who been around and know their job. That's just how I see it. You don't have to agree with me. If you think I'm wrong on this, please let me know. That's just my my personal. Yeah. No, don't mention it. It's just how I feel. Um, Maybe we are doing well in the transfer market, but even then, it's not enough. And it's not like me saying they are doing everything wrong, but I think the big decisions are the Ten Hag thing, and we all remember what happened to Ten Hag. They came out. All the rumors said he was going to get the sack after his last season with all those injuries, winning the FA Cup, and then they were going to have an assessment period. Keeping Ten Hag on the sideline, and they right there and then told the players that Ten Hag don't have the authority going forward. And we saw it. The players gave up. They didn't want to play for Ten Hag. And again, they should have just sacked him right there and then instead of doing the assessment. And they caved in because of the pressure of the Man United fans. We were on board with Ten Hag. We were just winning the FA Cup, beating Manchester City 2-1. And they clearly made the wrong decision. And not to talk about hiring Amorim mid-season, a manager with no experience in the Premier League, coming from Portuguese league, playing a completely different system that Man United. We have never played with a back three. And expecting the current squad to do something and not bringing in players, not supporting the manager. That January we signed Aiden Heaven from £1 million and Dogu for, was it 15? And this was where we ended with backing Amorim in that first season, and everything went sour. After losing that Europa League final, we should have known right then. It's just one thing to do. It's to end it with Amorim. Understand that this weren't the right. It almost ruined our season this season. And then when Amorim actually wanted players and had some demands and a voice of his own, they couldn't handle it. They just gave him the sack. So again, yeah. Let's go back to the game, guys. So many good comments. Sorry, when I'm on my own, I can't read them all. It's just like random. I see a name and I just pick one. So again, guys, thank you everybody for contributing, leaving comments and all of this. So I wanna check out the stats of the game. Let's go back to the stats. I just read a comment from Yale there. I want to bring that comment up because Yale, I love Yale's comments. He said, no, most of you were on board. I wanted Erik Ten Hag gone. I could not forgive Erik Ten Hag what they did to Varane, destroying his career, playing him with a concussion. Worst ever Champions League run also. Yeah, that's... But we can blame that on Onana too, the calamity, Onana. But you make a good point, Jarl, and it's not like I'm disagreeing with you. I was one of those who wanted Ten Hag to stay, but the process, that's where I'm putting my finger on the management, the director of football. You don't do a public process like this and questioning Erik Ten Hag after winning the FA Cup. They should have gone out right away, cementing Ten Hag's place and say, we will fully back the manager. He's our guy. He just won the FA Cup. Kill the speculations and let the players know that this is how we roll. Or they should just sack him right away. But what they are doing, they don't have any experience. So they wait and they pick a solution that's in between. So it's wrong either how after a while, They can't win doing it like this. So they have to be more assertive. That's the English word that we lack. But, you can't be assertive if you don't have any confidence and experience in how you make your decisions. So again, they are learning on the job. And this is where Man United shouldn't be, in a rebuild. We can't learn on the job. We don't have the time. They prolong our rebuild our way back to the top by many years because of their incompetence. So again, that's just how I feel. France comes in and say, "Evening, lads. What a boring game. 100%. 100%. What a boring game." So let's just look at the stats from the boring game. There's nothing actually here to talk about. Possession 51-49. Expected goals 1.17. 0.66 for Man United. And I think the expected goals was they had a shot in the post. Yeah. Uh, Sunderland had 15 shots in total. We had 11. They had 4 on target. I think Lammens was brilliant today. He made a couple of key saves and kept us in the game. We should probably have lost this game. We had 1 shot on target. And by the way, that came in the 92nd minute of the game. So for the first 91 minutes, we didn't have 1 shot on target. It tells you how toothless Man United were today. Sunderland created 1 big chance. We created 0. Again, accurate passes, 84% from Sunderland, 82% from us. 3 yellow cards to Man United, 7 corners, 6 corners. XG, well, it's theoretical shots, passes. I want to check out passes in our first third because I felt that we were just passing the ball around. Doesn't say. So I need to find another page. But guys, there's nothing to talk about really when it comes to the game. It was a snooze fest. I almost fell asleep. There was nothing to analyze. I have 1 big chance. We can look at the chance. Sunderland had one chance and we had 1 chance. So let me just bring up the okay, where is it? Yeah, here it goes. And I must say, actually, Granit Xhaka today, he impressed me. I think he's really good in the way he conduct that midfield. Yeah. So, guys, I don't know if you can see this. It's I think it's Enzo Lafay and Granit Xhaka. Dogu is the one pressing. So, again, you see Xhaka controlling the midfield. They're giving the ball to the right, to the left. And what I saw today, especially if we are going to analyze anything about the midfield, look at this. We have Kobe Mainoo here. We have Mason Mount here. And what I see when I see a midfield like this is they're flat. And this happened all the time. Mason Mount should never be flat. He should be more in this position, a little bit more staggered, because if he should always be in close proximity to Mainoo and also be the backup. If this was Casemiro, he would have dropped down right in front of Brian Bobby in this instance and helped out Maguire, cut off the passing lane and be the backup for Mainoo. But it didn't happen. So Mason Mount, he was terrible today. Never a central midfielder. He can't play the role and he doesn't understand the role. So why Carrick played him, I don't know. I would rather play one of the Fletcher twins, Jim Thwaites, even Bruno in that midfield rather than Mason Mount. Sunderland is carrying on the attack. I want you to pay attention to one guy, and that's Brian Brobby. Makes a dummy run and drags Maguire this way and opens up the space. It's so easy. Nothing big, but strikers do dummy runs all the time. And we look good in this situation. Look, we have a back four. It's compact. It's solid. We have Mason Mount. Mason Mount is here. Yeah. Dogu, Mainoo. But again, Sunderland easily open up our attack. I need to take it up and down just because of copyright stuff, guys. So the ball goes to Brobby, layoff and a shot in the post. Yeah. So this was the biggest chance of the game, and maybe we should have lost it right there and then. But I just want you to pay attention to Brian Brobby's dummy run and how he opens up a little bit of space with Harry Maguire. and there you catch Maguire flat-footed. So again, that's just small things, striker movements. And again, you see he rolls past Kobe Mainu, and a totally flat Mason Mount right here. He can't cover. As I said in the beginning, this is the position of Mason Mount. He should have been here, right in front of Brian Robbie and Maguire, because then he would be the backup. But he weren't, and again, you see when he goes past, Mason Mount is too slow. He can't react, and he stands in the middle of nowhere. And for me, it's not good midfielding. It's not how you do it. Yeah. Well, I'm not saying it's Maguire's fault, and Martinez, he was way out of position. I'm just stating how poor our defense were today. There's no leaders. There's nothing. One small movement, and you just shift Maguire flat-footed. We're not front foot defending, and for me, that's important. And also Mason Mount today, he can't play in a pivot with Kobe Mainu. I could have told you that for free, in the beginning before the game. And yes, there were many mistakes in this picture. Look at the players on the far left. No one was following it. Yeah, again, also, yeah. So, but Stu and I will do a more thorough show tomorrow night. Stu couldn't make it tonight, so tomorrow night around 9-ish. Yeah, it's 10 p.m. European time, 9 p.m. UK time. Stu and I will go through it, do the weekend wrap up show. Yes, he was playing. Well, actually, he was on the pitch at least. But we need more leaders. We saw as soon as Casemiro is not playing, we have no backup. And I don't know if the right thing is to sign a Baleba. If Baleba could come in and fix this, could Mateus Fernandes come in and fix this? Could Alex Scott come in and fix this? Could Chouameni come in and fix this? I don't know, guys. I think football is you need someone who takes charge of the game and lead the other guys. And this is why I've said it before, I would prefer a Ederson. Okay. I don't think so. I don't trust players coming in from the Serie A. I don't trust them. It's a different league. It's a slower league. Not for me. I don't want Ederson. It's not the player. Maybe I'm wrong on this, but I don't want him. There's only one player I think we could get in, and that's Mamadou Sangare from RC Lens. He would be a monster playing in. He would be the hybrid of N'Golo Kante and Caicedo. N'Golo Kante with stride, bigger, longer legs, more technicality. But people are sleeping on Mamadou Sangare. They don't know who he is. They don't follow the French league. They've never seen him play. They know nothing. He's the highest ranked player in League this season. He's ahead of Vitinha. So it tells you something at least. Yeah. And what I'm saying, yeah, we need leaders, more leaders. People, I don't know. Can you? Some of you give me some options, because as I said, Bournemouth, they have Brentford. I always mix those up. Brentford, they have Jordan Henderson leading the team from the midfield. We saw Granit Xhaka tonight or today, how he took hold of the game. You have Brighton. They have players like Pascal Gross, James Milner when he's on the pitch. You need some older heads to take the game by the scruff of its neck. And we have Casemiro. And we're talking about replacing Casemiro with a player like Baleba or Chouameni. And that's based on skills, they can do the role, but can't they lead when the tough gets going? When the opposition team is pressing us deep, every time we have the ball, it feels like they are 10 men more on the pitch. We have no time. We are stressed out. We have no composure. It's hot potato football. We have seen this. And when this happens, we need more people who are in control of themselves, who are in control of their own emotions, who have been around, been in the war before, who can take down the ball, be calm, and it will also spread to the other players around them. It's so important in football. And yeah, Jensen, the Brentford player, I like him. And we could get him on a free this summer if he haven't. I don't know if he signed a new contract, but he's one of those, people who can have a little bit of experience. And Ineos, incompetent as they are looking at young players only. And then that's purely from a sell-on perspective. Can't we sell them on if we make a mistake? And why do we do this? It's not like we are trying to be the best football team that we can be. It's more about us having the finances in order. And that's not how a football club rolls. We need to take chances, think ahead. Buying players outside from the Premier League is not a move ever now. The other leagues just don't compare to the Premier League. Yeah, and this is what I'm saying, but I think the French league is comparable to the Premier League because of the physicality. That's why I would trust a signing like Sangare to come in. I would never trust a player from the Bundesliga coming in. Never trust a player from the Serie A coming in. Not to speak about the Portuguese league and the Dutch league and all of those second-rated leagues. Forget about it. Forget about it. Especially when it comes to midfielders. You could see how long it took Sesko to adapt to the tempo of the Premier League. He spent half a season playing on Bundesliga tempo. Every time he received the ball, the centre-back was too aggressive, too quick, too strong, and he lost the ball. So we had a poor start of his run at Man United. It took him a lot of time to adapt. And I don't want this. We don't have the time. If we're ever going to compete for anything, we need players who are ready to go right now. The first game. Can't wait until game 15 before we see the result. So again, that's just my thoughts. Okay, so yeah, we run through the stats. Have showed you some highlights. 0 shots on target. I want to talk a little bit about Steve Holland, because tonight it felt like we played Steve Holland ball. And when I talk about this, it's the passiveness of how we play, and also the mid-block thing. We are just waiting out the opposition. We drop into a 4-4-2. We did it against Liverpool, even playing with a low block at times. But we had the aggression. We need the aggression. We need to be right in their faces every time they receive the ball. Tonight we went into a passive 4-4-2 mid-block. And if you want to play like that, you will lose a lot of games. You will lose a lot of games. You got to take the whip the players. Tell them they have to be up for it. When the game starts, go out there on the pitch, be aggressive, play front foot football, take risks. Don't be afraid to express yourself. It feels like the players are playing with shackles all the time. So again, it's okay. The quality is not good enough. Mason Mount, Xerxes, all of them, even Ahmad, who had a poor game again. The no aggression, no urgency, but intensity. You don't have to be good on the ball to have the intensity to run. The players look like they are afraid getting tired. They are afraid not holding on for the full 90. I don't care. I would rather see a player being knackered after 45 minutes and sub him off than keeping passengers on the pitch for 90 minutes. I would rather us be more ruthless, and this is where Man United needs to go. Yeah, 100% France. We sat back against Sunderland team. No urgency, no aggression. Yeah, and King Carrick says Baleba ain't it. Yeah, yeah. We need more bullies. It's too nice, too soft, too soft. We need someone who can come in and real general. We need the Roy Keane type of player to smash up players. We can't. Look at Xerxes. Alderweireld, what's his name of the centre back in that first half? Xerxes was dropping deep, trying to control the ball, and Alderweireld, he kicked his legs a couple of times, and Xerxes go like crying to the ref. He should gone up in the face of Alderweireld and take his shirt and say fuck off. That's the attitude I want to see. Not crying to the ref for fuck's sake. I don't want that. Bruno, okay. Who was it? Angulo, who put his arm in Bruno's face. I know it was checked for violent conduct by VAR. They found it too soft. But again, the players dropped down, cried to the ref. We have become a team crying to the ref. Everything things goes against us. And if you want to go into war, do you want to complain to the guy who's the referee, or do you want to show the players you don't fucking do this to our players? This is what I want to see. I want to see more fight, more spirit. So again, this is. I'm too agitated tonight. Sorry, guys. I will be back tomorrow night with a bit more sensible approach. Just. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I fear. People say, keep Carrick. I'm sitting a little bit on the fence. I don't know what to do. I don't think Carrick has the know-how. I think he needs better coaches. I saw we were linked to the Bayern Munich assistant coach. I say, let's go in and get the Manchester City assistant coach if Pep leaves this summer. We need a better physical coach. The guy who were the physical coach in Bayern Munich, the Aston Villa guy with the long hair. He's free on the market. We can go get him for free this summer. We need better players, because there's a virus in Man United. A lot of these players feel entitled. Again, you can see players like Mason Greenwood, for example, is falling out at the Olympique Marseille. Rashford is falling out because of his attitude with the hierarchy in Barcelona. He scored tons of goals and assists this season. But again, why won't they pay up? Because they are unsure about his attitude. We have seen this with a lot of these ex-Man United players. They bring the virus with them, this. And also now I see some of these players, Xerxes, even Ahmad, starting to you sulk. When things go against you, you drop your head, you start sulking. I don't want to see this. I want to see players show it, show some fight, show some grit. I want to see Man United come back to the way I used to see Man United before. I'm used to seeing players. We mention this all the time. I know we can't live in the past, but we all want the attitude of Roy Keane, the attitude of Jaap Stam, the attitude of Rio Ferdinand, the attitude of Wayne Rooney, the winning mentality. We can't just rely on Bruno doing his magic every game. Tonight you saw Bruno, as soon as things goes against him, he starts waving his arms. He totally loses his focus, and he's our captain. He's the guy leading the line. It's not a criticism of Bruno. The club made him captain. I can deal with players like Bruno, but you should never be captain. Being the guy, and now you see. I'm not going to go too deep. Paul Jarvis, is Barcelona don't pay the fee, bring Rashford back and sell him to a team he wants, who will play. Yeah, sick of players holding the club to ransom. Yeah, this is the thing. But it's not just the clubs; it's the attitude of the players. That's they come. Jadon Sancho. Look at Garnacho. All of these players played for Man United. They what we have learned and playing for Man United is entitlement. They feel that they deserve their wages. They deserve their stardom because they just played for Man United. But they have never achieved anything as players. They haven't won jack shit. And then you have players like Casemiro coming in. You see Tony Cruz in interviews talking about this. You see other players, serial winners. Luka Modric, what the hell, that guy is 40 years of age right now. And he plays for AC Milan and probably one of the best players in Serie A. Still, after winning the Champions League, how many times? It's about attitude. It's about the winning mentality, not entitlement. You want to prove yourself every time you go on the pitch. And this is where the problem lies with Man United. So again, yeah, it's just my rant. You've been sitting here, guys, for 50 minutes, seeing a angry Jarvis ranting. So yeah. King Carrick, what position was we under Scamarim? Yeah, we didn't have fit for forwards. Yeah, I think we were sitting sixth maybe when he got the sack. But bear in mind, Amorim never got the sack because of his results. It was his attitude towards Wilcox and Berada and the hierarchy, the guys in suits, because they wanted a yes man. And as soon as he stopped being a yes man and starting to question them, call them out, they weren't having it, because they don't want to be exposed. They don't want to be exposed for their incompetence. You know what's dangerous? People like that. Tyrants who don't want to be exposed because of their incompetence. They don't look at themselves and try to improve. They just go on every day being fucking posers and pretenders. And they don't want to be exposed. And as soon as anybody exposes them, they get afraid, and they just get rid of them. So again, yeah, that's just, yeah. Yes, that's right. The boss says he opened his mouth. Yeah, Amorim, his result was poor, but he was a dead man walking from day one. He was never going to get the backing needed. And he wanted a midfielder in January right away. Yeah, everyone wanted a midfielder. Ruben got fired because he didn't get the transfer budget for January. But we tried to sign Semenyo, so it wasn't like we didn't have the money. And we had the money to pay out Amorim and his staff. I think it cost us like 25 million. Yeah. So again, that's just, yeah. Thomas, again, you won't achieve anything with the Glazers in charge like this. They need to go. Yeah. Yeah. And then we have the enablers, Ineos. So, yeah. And Amorim, yeah, he was shite. He was shite, but again, I think we will see Amorim succeed in another club. He apparently was linked to Crystal Palace and even the Bournemouth job. Yeah. I think we will see Amorim again. And I would actually love to see Amorim again in the Crystal Palace job, for example, coming in, just prolonging what Glasner started, the back three players who can work for a manager. But I think that the Man United job was too big for him. Big up, King Carrick. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, we need to break this cycle. Carrick has saved us fans. We need to back him because how it's worked out so far with so-called Jose quality managers. Exactly, we are doing well. I'm just afraid that Carrick we don't have the know-how, because next season it will be games. Let's say three games in every 8 days. Will be tough. We need a bigger squad. What will happen in the summer now when with the opposition managers? Because you gotta remember, Pep Guardiola, Arteta, Arne Slot, all of these managers in the clubs that we are competing against, They won't sit on their ass in this summer. They will go in, tell their tactical team to analyze Michael Carrick, find his weaknesses, and next season they will go at us. And Carrick needs to change things up because we can't just keep doing what we are doing, playing the 4-2-3-1 mid block, low block, counter attacking, because we will be found out. Because this is football. You need to have a playbook of at least 1,000 pages, and you got to change it up from game to game, because you don't want to be found out. And that's just my biggest fear, that Carrick will be found out because he hasn't been around long enough to know this. Because you are not just competing with the 11 players on the pitch, you're competing a tactical war against the other managers. It's like a chess game. Magnus Carlsen, he can't just do the Spanish opening every time he plays a game of chess. He needs to mix it up. Sometimes play the Sicilian, sometimes play the orangutan, someplace. I don't know how much you know about chess, but you have to have different game plans, and you have to be able to mix it up. And Steve Holland, he didn't do anything, with England. He played the same type of boring mid-block snooze fest football for under Southgate. So he's the second in command, the guy who's going to help out Carrick to put out the game plan for every game. So again, we need new thoughts, new heads. The Bayern Munich assistant manager. We need the physical coach, tactical coaches. Set piece coaches, guys with experience from bigger clubs, from who's been around for many years, who know how this works. Unless we will see this, same thing that we saw under Ollie. He was also kind of limited after a while. And so I just hope that the club backs Carrick if he stays. And in a way, I'm not sitting here and saying I hope Carrick don't stay in the job, because I love Carrick as a player. I loved how he played. It was the best midfielder we ever had, past Keenan's goals. So again, and that's why it's also a little bit tough, because I don't want to sit here like in a year's time and say Carrick out. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go through this. The Ole thing, that was the one that really hurt. I didn't give a fuck about Ten Hag or Amorim, but the Ole thing, I almost felt depressed. It was like the breakup, the girlfriend that got away. So again, maybe I'm just trying to protect myself. Yeah, Thomas is saying, stop being delusional. Carrick is not a good coach. Wilcox is a pretend director of football. Yeah, that's just how I feel. But I 100% respect the opinion of people who wants Carrick to stay. I would never go at you guys. We are just fans. And we all love the club, So. And Taya Simba, big up my friend. It's been a while, saying, big up Jarvis. Loved Carrick the player. I don't like Carrick the coach. Unfortunately, I'm Carrick out. Yeah, you are free to be Carrick out. But I'm not Carrick out. I'm just skeptical to his abilities. Yeah. Carrick Southgate. That's mine. It will be how he knows the next season. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm just a little bit worried about next season. He needs help. Yeah, and the champions. Hopefully, I pray to God that I'm wrong. I pray to God that I'm wrong about this. Yeah. Jarle says Ole could end up as Rosenborg manager. Okay. So he's going back to the Norwegian Premier League. Yeah, Rosenborg is such a mess. Rosenborg was the biggest club in the Norwegian Premier League. They won the league 10 years in a row, qualified for Champions League every season in the 90s and the beginning of 2000s. They were a big club. They had an astute manager, same manager all years, same as we did with Alex Ferguson. And as soon as he quit his job, they went into turmoil, same as we did. So it's compatible, it's comparable. But yeah, I wish Oli well if he becomes the Rosenberg manager. I do. Um, yeah, guys. Yeah, we can do this from Mantesim, but also our coaching staff is the worst in the league. Steve Holland, Woodgate, Evans. Yeah, yeah. I talked about this. There are managers out there. I talked about the. We have been linked to to Bayern Munich assistant manager coach. We have been linked to, or I talked about the what's his name, Pepin Reinders or something, Dutch name, the assistant manager of Pep Guardiola. He's out there. Um, there are options. We need people. Ferguson used to do this all the time. We brought in new assistant. And I think we need fresh minds. Because as I said, it's like a chess game. You need new openings all the time. Hey, hey, Retro 77 coming in and say you're not watching the cup final, Jarvis Brun. Yeah, Bergen is up 2-1 against Body Glimt. Yeah, Nikita Heiken is a mess. No, I am not. Hopefully, I will catch up on the second half and watch it. Watch it. Yeah. So thank you for the heads up, guys. Stu and I will be back tomorrow night, 9 p.m., and do a tactical breakdown, talk more about the game. But there's not much to talk about. It's mainly just anger and guff, that comes from me. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for the name, Pep Linders. Yeah, yeah. Lingers. Yeah, that's the guy. And Taya, he's the guy. And if Pep leaves, he will be free. So again, if Carrick stays, give Carrick all the help he needs. Get people in there who know how to play the game. Yeah, it's a good question, Paul. It's a good question. Yeah, they said it was 90% certainty that Carrick will get the job. So yeah, and again we know that Woodgate and Berada they will just sit there and uh, and wait. This is how they done every big decision in the club. The Ten Hag thing, the Ashworth thing. Let's not forget about Dan Ashworth. Yeah, and Amorim. They sit on the fence. They wait, and they look like they are afraid to make a decision, because if they make a decision and it gets wrong, the blame will be on them. The limelight will be on them. So they just wait and wait and wait. And we talked about managers coming in, and they were going to do a thorough process, interview a lot of managers. How many managers have we really interviewed? I don't think it's many, and it's a little bit too little and too late. We know the World Cup is starting the 11th of June. Mid-July, the World Cup will be over, and then clubs will start working again. So yeah. Yeah, and Taya says it's obvious he's getting the job. Contract has probably been signed already. Yeah. I think they are just waiting for the right opportunity just to announce him. Probably in the last home game against Brighton. He will be announced. They want to look, because they were posers, as I said. They want to look like they did a thorough process. It's all about. It's like the social media thing that we are all going through right now. It's all about the looks, how things seems. Yeah, France, give Carrick 2 years max review after 1 year and see if it's worth keeping. Get rootless, no more jobs for the boys. Yeah. Yeah, but you do realize as soon as we sign Carrick, he will stay on for at least 2 more years. So project 2028. I don't think we will win the league. Guys, I've been doing 1 hour as I was supposed to do 30 minutes. So I hope you enjoyed the show. Smash the like and subscribe if this was your first time on the Tactical Devils. I want to thank you guys for tuning in and team by the buses, Paul, Thomas, all of you legends, Yala, Retro77, Twalumbu, all of you guys. It's been a brilliant show. Yeah. So guys, see you guys tomorrow. I would wish you a wonderful Saturday night. Enjoy yourself. Don't think more about Man United. I won't. I will head to the pub afterwards, meet a couple of friends, have a pint, talk about other things than football. That's just it's good to just take your mind off Man United. So yeah, and get the likes up, as Thomas says. Yeah. Maybe I will be back from the pub. I see Noradin is going live later tonight. United Real Therapy. I think it will be on like 10 p.m., 11 p.m., something late one. So maybe I will be on that one. So if you want to see more Jarvis tonight, just tune in on United Real Therapy with Noradin. We will do we will have another rant about Man United. Maybe I have calmed down until then. And tomorrow night, guys, Stu and I will be back with a weekend wrap-up show, and we will talk more about the club. So thank you, everybody. Smash the like. After the show, we haven't even talked about Man of the Match. So go in the non-live section after the show. Get your Man of the Match in. For me, it was Lammens. He was the Man of the Match, but it was no competition. So, guys, thank you. Have a good night, and see you tomorrow night. Bye-bye.